What's up, everybody, and welcome back to my channel. So, the Sixers did it. They pulled it off. They were able to win Game 7, Round 1 of the NBA playoffs against the Boston Celtics, breaking a 44-year losing streak against that team once they faced them in the playoffs. It was a great game last night. I really enjoyed watching it. Embiid, Maxey, Edgecombe, and Paul George, all four of those guys were able to hold it down and hoist their team up to a victory against the Celtics, finally breaking the curse that they had been experiencing for so long. I just wanted to do like a really brief recap of the stats and just give my thoughts about what I think about the game and the Sixers moving forward. Now, this is coming from a very casual fan perspective. So if you're a hardcore, basketball fan or Sixers fan or Celtics, please don't come for me in the comments, because honestly, I'm just doing this because I want to test out some new software that I'm recording recording with. But in any event, let's talk about the game. So I pulled up an article from ESPN that just talked about the Sixers overcoming the Celtics, overcoming them from a 3-1 deficit, and it had a couple of stats in the article that I thought was pretty interesting. So, and it just covered the star players and their stats for the game. So let's take a look at it. All right, so it's a nice little jump shot of Jaylen Brown going up for a three. Most likely, he was on fire for a minute with those threes. Whenever they leave that guy unguarded, let me tell you, you can't do nothing with him. He's gonna sink it every time. But this one is titled "Joel Embiid leads the 76ers to a 109-100 game 7 win over the Celtics to complete a comeback from a 3-1 deficit." So it was a really good game last night. So this one says, Joel Embiid and the 76ers advanced to the Eastern Conference semifinals, beating the Jason Tatum-less Boston Celtics 109-100 on Saturday night to complete the NBA's 14th comeback from a 3-1 deficit. So right there, again, making a little bit of history there. This is only the 14th time in the NBA where a team has been able to come back from a 3-1 deficit and move in advance in the playoffs. So a couple of player stats here. Embiid finished with 34 points, 12 rebounds, and 6 assists. Tyrese Maxey added an additional 30 points, 11 rebounds, and 7 assists. VJ Edgecombe, the rookie, coming out the gate doing great things, scored 23 points, and Paul George had 13, bringing up the rear. So those four right there, they were able to get it done. They were balling. One thing that I noticed right out of the gate is that the Sixers, from the beginning of the game to the end, they put their foot on the gas and they didn't really let up. So the Sixers are going to move on to advance to round 2, where they will meet up with the New York Knicks Monday night in game 1 of the second round. So Sixers coming in as the 7th seed, Knicks as the 3 seed. Listen, I love a good underdog story, and the fact that the Sixers were able to break their finally, after all of this time, break their losing streak, I feel like they got to keep going. They kind of got to keep going strong. Don't let up now. You were able to get over the hump that was the Boston Celtics, who always had been standing in your way of advancing. Even if you guys didn't face them in round 1, you come up against them on round 2, and then they end up just ending your playoff dreams there. So guess what? You finally were able to beat them and move on. So don't let it go to waste, the Sixers. Okay. Some more stats from the game for the Celtics. Jaylen Brown and Derek White pretty much carried that team. Kata came up strong too, and these are the 3 players that they highlighted. Since Jason Tatum was not playing last night, Jaylen Brown led Boston with 33 points and 9 rebounds. Derek Wright had 26 points, including 5 3-pointers, and Nehemiah Queta finished with 17 points and 12 rebounds. And it says that the Celtics struggled from the three-point line for a third straight game, finishing 13 out of 49 attempts. And yeah, and you could see that last night. It was apparent that, I mean, at some points during the game, though, they were hot. Like, they were just knocking down threes, which is what they're known for. But ultimately, at the end of the day, they just were not able to get it done, especially when it came down to the fourth quarter, man. That, like, it seemed like every other shot that the Celtics were taking, they just were not making it. And Tyrese Maxey kind of came out the gate. He just came out the gate in that fourth quarter and just showed out. And they just couldn't do anything with him. And then, I mean, Embiid, when he's healthy enough to play like he was last night, he's an unstoppable force. You know what I mean? And I just hope he can stay healthy enough to continue to help, bring his team successfully through the playoffs. But he did. I mean, he came in. He didn't come into, like it says here, and be debuted in Game 4 after recovering from appendix surgery. He's the first player in NBA history to score 100 points in a playoff series despite missing the first 3 games. And he and Maxey also became the third duo in league history to each have 25 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 assists in Game 7. So they were balling out of control, man. And they really just didn't have any answer for Embiid when he was, in the game. I mean, a couple of times he got, a couple of block shots, but ultimately at the end of the game, he still was a dominant force to be reckoned with in the game. Which, like I said, when he's healthy, that's pretty much him. It's just that he's always injured and he misses so much time, from these games and stuff like that. But I'm glad he was able to show up and show out for the team last night. Again, so now I'm a bit invested in this in this series because I didn't know if, given the history of the Sixers and the Celtics, if it was going to be another, same script, different day. But they flipped the script, and they said in the post-game interview that, at Game 5, they just was like, you know what, we're tired of losing to these guys. And they just kicked it in overdrive and they were able to get it done. So I thought that was excellent. On their part. What else really stood out in the game? I mean, it was a pretty good game. The Sixers, for the most part, had control of the game for the most part. I believe it was 1 or 2 times throughout the game that the Celtics came back and they were actually able to take the lead, but it was very short-lived because the Sixers were able to close the gap on any lead that the Celtics were able to take and then and actually get back in the lead. So I thought it was really good. Like I said, the Sixers, they really didn't let up off the gas. The Celtics, they were trying. They, put the pedal to the metal for a little while there, but ultimately it just wasn't enough to overcome the Sixers, despite, a lot of people can say, well, that's because, Jason Tatum wasn't playing, but I think this was the first game that he was out, but the Sixers won 3 in a row when Jason Tatum was playing. So I think really honestly it just boiled down to the Sixers just wanted it. They just wanted it more at the end of the day, I think. And because of that, they were able to, pull out these three back-to-back wins. You know what I mean? So in any event, it's a great underdog story. Especially going up against your arch nemesis and finally defeating them, right? So it was a good game. I really enjoyed it. The final score 109-100, as you can see. And even when you look at this total points for each quarter, it was 50-50. Like the Sixers outscored the Celtics in the first and third quarter, and then the Celtics were able to outscore them in the second and fourth quarter. But it was a lot closer though, the scores in the second and fourth quarter. Even though Boston was able to outscore them, ultimately they still kept it close. They kept the gap really close throughout the whole game, and they were able to pull it off. So congratulations to the Sixers. My mom is super excited. She's a 76ers fan, and we're looking forward to seeing those guys play against the Knicks. I think it'll be a good matchup. I believe Embiid and Anthony Towns got some beef, so it should be a good show to see, them face up against each other, match up against each other in the playoffs. And there's a couple of other games too that I'm interested in seeing. I definitely want to check out the Lakers versus OKC. I like a lot of the players on OKC. I know they're like the team to beat, in the NBA. They've been the team to beat for like the last maybe year or maybe two years, SGA on that team and all of those guys, man, they're just so dominant. Like, you just can't keep up with those guys. They're just forced to be reckoned with within the NBA. They're going up against LeBron and the Lakers, and it'll be interesting to see how all of those veterans stack up against the young kids, the cool kids, the young kids in town. So I think that'll be a really good matchup. And then also, I was looking forward to the Timberwolves versus the Spurs, but I just found out that the Timberwolves for Anthony Edwards, Ant-Man, he's injured and that he's gonna miss. I think it said maybe possibly the first 2 or 3 games. So that's gonna suck, but we'll see. Hopefully they'll be able to pull something off. I know tonight the Raptors are playing Cleveland, but I'm not really particularly inspired to watch that game. But yeah, I'm definitely want to tune in for the Sixers and the Nets. In the Knicks and the Timberwolves and the Spurs tomorrow, Monday, and on Tuesday the Lakers and OKC. So I think those are the three matchups in the series that I'm inclined to watch to see how they do. Again, guys, this is from a super casual, very occasionally watch basketball, but I like when it's a good matchup. I like when it's a nice good story behind it, and so it makes, I think, for more interesting games. So shout out to the Sixers for getting it done last night. So I just wanted to get on here, do a nice little recap for you all, and hopefully the sound and everything comes out pretty good. I'm keeping it real. I've done this video like 3 or 4 times because I can't get I'm trying to learn how to do audio and all kinds of stuff, and I ended up just reverting back to to the basics until I figure out the sound. So hopefully the sound actually came out okay for this video, or else I'm just gonna call it a wrap and just do the last video. But in any event, thank you all for tuning in and check out my video today. Let me know in the comments if you're following the NBA playoffs. What matches are you looking forward to watching in round 2? Thank you again for watching my video today, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.